So the third critical choice that I made was to build trust in myself and inspire the trust of others. And building trust in myself was truly the first thing that I had to do before I could even think about how can I inspire the trust of others. Sometimes I think this is a difficult question to think about. Was there ever a time where you felt like you might not have trusted yourself, like had the full trust in yourself? And if so, how did you build it?
Yeah, I mean, daily to this day, I have to. I mean, like it's funny. I can kind of break the question down. Like I trust myself to make good day to day decisions, and I'm not. Luckily, I'm not being drawn into anything that's going to be terribly life altering. But what I don't trust myself sometimes is really to use an old tired term, an imposter syndrome. Like I still to
Mm.
this day struggle with that, and I struggle with, why on earth is anyone paying me to do anything? Why did Trish Kendall ask me to join this interview series? And and it's funny because pragmatically, you can look at the body of work and you can look at the impact you have on your friends and your family relationships, and you can take all that and know that you're okay and you're doing something that's positive. But there's still an inner voice for me that erodes trust and kind of just I don't know, just kind of tears away at things. So and it's funny, I'm not even saying it's all bad. Like in some ways it continues to push me forward, but in other ways it is a detractor. I remember years ago I was when I was at Castlight Health. I was really fortunate. I had a really good year, and we were kind of on our club trip, right, where you get to go and they take the kind of top performers. And only time in my life I ever got to go on that trip. And I was talking with one of our senior executives, and I made a similar comment to her. I was like, yeah, I just, I half the time I don't feel like I even know what I'm doing. And I just come off the biggest sales year in the history of the company. I had sold the biggest deal ever to this day in the history of the company. And she's like, what? Like, it blew her mind, but it was the God's honest truth. So I feel like for me, the trust has been challenging, but I will say the leap that I took in 2015 and
Mm.
the decisions that I've made along the way have really begun to build that to where at least I do know, pragmatically, yeah, I can trust myself. I can trust the impact I have on people. I can trust the work that I do. But there is still a voice in my head every day, and I wish it would go away, but it doesn't seem like it's moving. That just continues to kind of just grab at you and say, "Nope, you're a big fraud," and they're gonna all figure it out here pretty quick.
And maybe that's part of the Brad magic.
No,
You know how sometimes they say like just whatever who you are is who you are, and that's what what you create. And maybe it goes even back to what I said at the beginning is that you are very humble and it's authentic, like what you were just saying. You're like, hey, wait a minute, I created this. Yeah, you created this. how how do people how does someone inspire your trust?
hmm. Boy, that's pretty easy, right? It's to me, it's just honesty and positivity, and at least for me, they're just kind of unyielding desire to see other people do well. As I think about like the way I try to serve in my life today, is I love being a connector. I love being a voice. I love being a thought partner. And, I've learned that, if I'm asked for advice, I'll give it, but otherwise just listening and helping and ask questions and helping people think through things. And so I'm really inspired by that. And that builds trust for me when I feel like somebody is really genuinely interested in me and how things are going. And it's not just the cursory, how you doing? How's the weather? Okay, let's get to business. But it's really a thoughtful conversation. It makes me feel loved. It makes me feel accepted. And so I try to pass that forward on a regular basis. I'm lucky that I've got a group of people that I get to interact with that sometimes seek my counsel. I seek theirs. And these are all two-way streets, right? You talk about like a mentor relationship. Anyone that I mentor, there are definitely chapters where they're mentoring me. This is a very circular, life we're living here. And so I think trust for me really comes down to just, honesty, positivity, and just truly caring about the person that's across from you. Yeah.
One of the things that I think about, I'll put this in, I'm projecting it to you, but this was my experience, is part of the way that I built trust was by doing the little things great.
Oh yeah.
And just because it just seemed so big to me. And so just doing some of the little things great. And I know that you are so disciplined in your work practice and in your biking practice and all. Is there a little thing that you think about, like the little thing that you continuously do great?
I think I've never thought about it that way, but I think the one thing I like to think that I do great is I always say yes when people reach out, when people need time. I never put it off. Hey, Brad, can we talk? Let's talk today. Like, I think it's important that you respond to those things and you get on it right then and there. And I'm guilty as anybody of procrastinating other things. And I wish I was more disciplined in other parts of my life. But when it comes to the people side of things, I'll drop everything to go handle that. And it's just, I think that's probably a little thing that I try to do that I'm really proud of.
Yeah. And I'm a recipient of that. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me for our Choose and Become interview series. You could find this episode and others at trishkendall.com. Just go to trishkendall.com/choose-become-interview-series. Or if you have a question or just want to leave a comment, email me, trish@trishkendall.com.